Hello guys, this is Dr. SERDAR YILMAZ, Muğla Sıtkı Koçman University, Department of Political Science and International Relations. Today's lecture is about the role of democracy and forms of government in international politics. You have the necessary documents on our university's course management system. As you know that due to coronavirus, we have to continue our education via distance learning system. So today we are going to analyze forms of government. And okay, let's start, guys. Forms of government, of course, we have different types of forms of government so far. For example, when we talk about a presidency or kingdom, rule by few or rule by all, or it is about holding a kind of elections. Where do the rules get their power? So when people decide to form the social contracts that we'll call governments, they make many different decisions about how their government will look. Let's look at Magna Carta, Great Chart, or in Turkish, Büyük Ferman. I put the Turkish version of Magna Carta on the right hand side. As you can see, bu belge ile kral ilk kez yetkilerini kısıtlamış ve halka bazı hak ve özgürlükler tanımıştır. Günümüzdeki anayasal düzene ulaşana kadar yaşanılan tarihi sürecin en önemli basamaklarından birisi Magna Carta'dır. Aslen Papa 3. Innocent, Kral John ve baronları arasında kralın yetkileri hususunu karara bağlamak amacıyla imzalanmıştır. Kralın bazı yetkilerinden feragat etmesini, kanunlara uygun davranmasını ve hukukun kralın arzu ve isteklerinden daha üstün olduğunu kabul etmesini zorunlu kılan büyük ferman. It is a British document. As I said, the King John, forced to recognize his power, was eliminated by the barons, and that was the first step toward the limited government. And I have a video. If you click the video, you can see the video about Magna Carta. This is also another thing that English Bill of Rights, guys, it's made Parliament stronger than king or queen, that protected rights to trial by jury, and that outlawed cruel and unusual punishments. That was the important element of individual rights. When we analyze democracy, or when we try to make a definition about what democracy is, that we can see that any form of government in which political power is exercised by all citizens, either directly or through their elected representatives. This is democracy, guys. And democracy are divided into two. First, direct democracy, then representative democracy. What is direct democracy? So in direct democracy, all citizens participate in government. There are no representatives in government. The citizens vote on everything, literally on everything, guys. All citizens can create public policy if they want to. Any example? For example, in ancient Athens, Greece, they held assemblies where citizens voted to pass laws. And when we talk about direct democracy, an example about direct democracy in Turkey, lately we may give the example of Ovacık. Or can we give the example of Ovacık as a direct democracy? So this is a kind of argumentative topic anyway. On the other hand, in representative democracy, this is like direct democracy, but all citizens participate in government here. Differently, okay? All citizens participate in government. People elect representatives who vote on laws for the citizens. So people do not directly vote for laws, but people elect representatives, then these representatives vote on laws instead of the citizens. So representatives answer to the people through regular elections held by 4 years or 5 years. Representatives are also usually held accountable by a constitutions. Now let's fill in the blanks, guys, to understand democracy. So the two forms of democracy are, all right, I have your answers. So direct and representative. So in a democracy, all blah 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 participate in government. I give you some time. Okay, citizens. All citizens vote on everything in a blah blah blah. And you have the time. This is the answer, which you know it anyway. In a direct democracy, there are no blah blah in the government. I know, you gave the right answer. Representatives. In a representative democracy, the representatives answer to the people through, of course, regular elections. So let's talk about the key elements of democracy, guys. Citizens' involvement, system of representation, rule of law, electoral system, equality, freedom, liberty, rights, and of course, education. Let's analyze step by step. First, the first element of democracy is citizens' involvement, all right? In direct democracy, citizens take part personally in deliberations and vote on every issue. Citizens debate and vote on all laws. However, in representative democracy, citizens choose or elect other citizens to debate and pass on especially laws. In terms of participation, first, there is voting. Second, political parties or interest groups. Third, political meetings or public hearings, discussion politics, calling your representatives. So you can participate via these three elements. Anyway, the second, a system of representations. So citizens delegate power to representatives to act for them, to do something instead of for people. Okay, this is of course based on the 2010 census. There is one representative for every 710,000 citizens, for example, in USA. One question is, should representatives simply reflect the interest of its constituency, or should they be independent agents? For example, there are significant scholars in history talking about representative democracies. Edmund Burke, he says that representatives are independent agents. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he says that any law which the people have not ratified in person is null. It is not a law. It's clear here. The third element of democracy is rule of law, guys. Don't forget, law is supreme. Law is supremer than any other kind. All right? Nobody is above the law. Even those who make the law, guys. Nobody is above the law. Okay? The fourth element, the electoral system. This is electoral system, the seçim sistemi, conflict over procedures or of choosing representatives. So every country has different electoral system, of course. Every country. Turkey has different electoral system. USA has completely different electoral system. The European countries have different electoral system. So electoral process begins with the selection of candidates. Okay? How you become a candidate? This is question. How you become a candidate? Think about your country, okay? Think how you become a candidate. For example, if you want to become a member of parliament, how you can be a member of parliament? Think, all right? Think. This is one electoral image of United States of America, as you can see here. They have a different, and I'm not going to analyze the US electoral system. If you are interested, you can online make some research about it, guys. Okay. For example, in America, there is 50% plus one. Slightly I explain. 50% plus one. So if you have 51%, you take everything. Okay. So winner take all. Ya da or first past the post. Kazanan her şeyi götürür gibi bir anlayış. Okay. The question, how about the view of minority under this system, all right? How about the view of minority under this system? On the other hand, in Europe, there is a proportional representation, okay? Seats are allocated in the legislature on the basis of percentage of votes cast for party. You can see, for example, A party takes 5% of the vote, B party takes 30% of the vote, C party takes 25%, and the rest 10%, for example. This is proportional representations. So governments are formed in coalition with other parties in order to make 50 plus 1. So European Union countries always form a coalition government, guys. Coalition government. Koalisyon hükümeti. The fifth element of democracy is equality. What is equality, all right? Maybe we have one simple definition, a sameness in relevant aspects. But of course, you know, there are some disagreements over definitions. Whether it's a political equality, equality before the law, equality of opportunity, economic equality, equality of respects, or social equality. So there are many arguments about equality, as you can see it. But as a citizen, people, how do we limit government? This is one important question that we need to ask, you know, in democracy. How do we limit government? Frequent elections, okay, for 4 years or 5 years. Watchdogs, gözlemciler, civil disobedience, sivil itaatsizlik. Protest, revolution. So every country has different type of limitation to of government. Think about Turkey. How can we limit government in Turkey? Just think how American people limit the American government. How, for example, the Germans limit the German government. Think. Now, guys, we have talked about direct democracy and representative democracy. Now, let's talk about more of forms of government, okay? Where only one person is in control. What is the name of the form of government where only one person is in control? I give you some time. Okay, autocracy. A form of government in which political power is controlled by one individual, such as monarch, dictator, emperor, etc. Okay, one individual control everything. Everything. But we are going to talk about two kinds of autocracy. Two kinds of autocracy. Okay, monarchs and dictators. In terms of monarchs, this is ruled by kings, ruled by queens, ruled by princes, or ruled by princesses. So sometimes by another names. Anyway, this is monarchs. Leaders usually gain their power because their parents were rulers too. Some modern monarchies like Spain and Japan have even constitutions. How about dictatorship? In a dictatorship, power is not inherited. Yani babadan oğula kalmıyor. But it is acquired by force. And by force, I mean military or political force. Okay? Babadan oğula kalan bir sistem değil. Gücü askeri ya da siyasi bir baskıyla, baskınla elde etmenizdir. Dictators have absolute control over the lives of their citizens, and usually people are not allowed to voice their negative opinions. Be careful about these words, okay? Dictators have absolute control over the lives of their citizens, and people are not allowed to voice their negative opinions. So you have to keep your negative opinions inside, guys. This is the basic explanation of this, okay? North Korea's leaders, Kim Jong-il's, Kim Jong-un's, these are considered as dictator. So any other examples that you can give, think, all right? And so far, we have talked about democracy, just, to repeat what we have learned so far. Can you give me the definition of democracy? All right. Democracy is ruled by the people, all right? How about autocracies? What can you say about it? Autocracy is, I give you some time, ruled by one. Don't forget, if you know these definitions, you absolutely know about what autocracies are. But what other forms of government do we have? Okay? For example, what if instead of everyone or just one person, a few people got together to rule a nation? It means rule by few. A few people get together to rule a nation. How do we call it? Oligarchy. Okay? Rule by few. Power can be based on several things, such as military strength, military power, religious control. Oligarchies can often come from or lead to other forms of government, like autocracies. Don't forget. How about theocracy? Theocracy. Theo in Greek means God. Okay? Allah. So if a government is theocratic, that means this government is ruled by the God. All right? Yes. A God or a higher power. Anyway. Leaders are usually religious leaders, and societies uses religious law to settle its disputes in theocracies. An example, of course, you give the example of Iran Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic of Iran is a modern theocracy that uses the Holy Islamic book, the Quran, as its guide. How about anarchy? No government at all? Then who makes and enforces laws if there is no government? Who? In anarchy, there is no government to make or enforce laws. So what do you think that would be like? Think. What do you imagine that would be like in that case? All right. As you can see that there are so many forms of government, guys. And let's ask you some questions. Okay? What is the government ruled by God and a few people called? I'll give you some time. What is the government ruled by God and a few people called? All right. Now let's make a little quiz for you. Okay? Are you ready for a little quiz? Let's start. I ask you questions. You answer. Democracy. What is your answer? It is A, ruled by everyone, or it is B, ruled by no one. I know you know the answer anyway. Good. Democracy is ruled by everyone. How about direct democracy? It is A, citizens elect people to vote, or it is B, all citizens vote on everything. What do you say? I know you know the answer too. Of course, it's B, all citizens vote on everything. How about representative democracy? On the contrary, A, representatives are appointed, B, representatives are elected. Definitely, representatives are elected in this kind of democracy, guys. How about autocracy? It is A, rule by one, or B, rule by few. The answer is, of course, rule by one. How about monarchy? It is A, never have constitutions, or it is B, power is inherited. Inherited is the word for you. Don't forget. Inherited. Okay? Babadan oğula geçme durumu. Kalıtsal. How about dictatorship? It is A, have total control, or it is B, always protect freedom of speech. I see that you are laughing. Of course, the answer is A, have total control. How about oligarchy? It is A, come in many forms, or it is B, power is always inherited. The answer is A, come in many forms. Theocracy, you know the answer anyway. It is, of course, B, power from a higher being. God or supreme authority, whatever it is anyway. Anarchy, you perfectly know the answer that anarchy is everyone does what they want. They don't want any government. Alright? It is not B. Now review your charts, guys, as a homework. This is your charts. Here. You're gonna tick democracy, autocracy. You are gonna increase the number of form of government. You may put oligarchy, you may put theocracy, you may put anarchism, or etc. Whatever you put here, you give the answer by looking at these elements. Okay, rule by few or one, rule by representatives, rule by none, controlled by citizens, rule by God or higher power, power usually inherited, holds elections, constitutional governments, and people have a say. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope this is useful for you guys. Next week, if everything goes well, we're going to explain the topic called globalizations, or the role of globalization in international politics. So please check your systems. You have all the necessary documents on your university's course management system ya da DYS, uzaktan eğitim sistemi. Orada bütün materyalleriniz var arkadaşlar. If you have any questions, please write your questions under the video. And until next week, look after yourself, stay at home, stay healthy. Bye bye.